Hello everybody and welcome to my top 3 favorite classes in Baldur's Gate 3. I know this is a little bit different of a video coming from me. I do normally gaming stuff, but now I kind of wanted to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 and kind of go over some of the things that I've been doing and experiencing in my gameplays. If you like these kinds of videos, feel free to let me know, comment below, and let me know if you like these videos and I'll keep doing them, you know? I want to keep talking about Baldur's Gate. I love sharing my experiences with you guys. I love sharing my playthroughs with you guys. And I just want to talk about it and have a good conversation about Baldur's Gate 3. If you like videos like these and you like the other videos on my channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button and it would help out so much and I would greatly appreciate that. Now, no more delay, let's go over my top 3 favorite classes. In the number 3 spot, my third favorite class is Barbarian. Now, whenever I play D&D or whenever I play games like Baldur's Gate 3, I normally don't like Barbarians. I'm not too much of a melee hit, do damage, I like the spells, I like casting spells, I like the different abilities that characters can have. So Barbarians to me are kind of just like, they're just kind of like the brute, the hit, like, oh, head empty, hit things kind of class. And I typically don't like that in a class. A lot of people like it, and that's all good with them, but typically that's not my playstyle. But I will say for Baldur's Gate 3, they do Barbarian very well, and it's hard to deny the utility of Barbarian classes whenever they have so much damage output, they have so many different things that they can do, and I'd be amiss if I didn't mention it as an awesome class to play. The main reasons why I love Barbarian in Baldur's Gate 3 is Karlach. Karlach is just the token Barbarian. She's a fantastic character, written very well, and so she's one of the reasons why I like the Barbarian class in Baldur's Gate 3. Not only Karlach, but as the actual class is played, I never played Wild Magic subclass, but the other subclasses are fantastic. I've played Wild Heart and I've played Giant, and they're great subclasses. Great abilities. I love the fact that they introduced Path of the Giants, because I love the fact that they really use the throw mechanic very well. They introduced that, and you could throw things before, but it was never like good. I guess you could throw like Alchemist Fire and you could throw the acid vials, but they had the throw property in like javelins and spears and all that, but you never really had a reason to have the throw ability. You never really had a reason to throw things before. But the Path of the Giants gives you a perfect reason to throw things. And I love it because it provides a ranged option to Barbarians, where before, Barbarians are typically just melee. They get in there, they get their hands dirty, they just swing away, hammer away, whatever, But I like that the Path of the Giants offered a ranged option for Barbarians while still having the same damage output and the same tankiness. And I just like that they did that. And then for Wild Heart, I love that they added in a lot of buffs for your teammates. I like the Elk option to where you can bolster your allies and make them faster. I like all of the other ones that bolsters either yourself or your allies. It's just a good, supplementary to your Barbarian to make you even stronger and you make your allies even stronger. But overall, Barbarians, their damage output is ridiculous. I mean, you get 2 attacks, you can add in Savage Attacker in there, you can just deal so much damage with them and not even bat an eye. Especially if you multi-class with a fighter and you get that action surge, you can attack 4 times in a turn, and it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Whenever I need a bunch of damage, whenever I'm going up against a boss and I need a bunch of damage to get him out of the way, I go for Barbarian, I go for Karlach, because it's crazy how much damage you can do with them. And then the damage output paired with the tankiness of them. I mean, their hit die is 1d12, their hit points are ridiculous, especially if you add the tough feat in there. Every time I play, Karlach is the most tanky, the one with the highest health, and she never dies. Barbarians almost never die in my playthroughs because of how tanky they are and how much they can hold themselves in a battle. If you have somebody who has a lot of damage output, you just match that damage output and you kill them before they kill you. So it's pretty simple. Alright, enough about Barbarians. Number 2 on my list, my second favorite class, is Warlock. I know that might be an unpopular opinion. I know Warlocks can have a little bit of mixed opinions, but hear me out. So, Warlocks, the biggest thing for me for Warlocks is Eldritch Invocations. Eldritch Invocations are fantastic. They enhance Warlocks so much. They make an alright spellcaster into a great spellcaster, in my opinion. I mean, with these Eldritch Invocations, you can beef up your Eldritch Blasts so much to the point to where any enemy that's semi-low health is just insta-killed. Not to mention you can push the enemies with your Eldritch Blast like off of chasms and kill them instantly. Yeah, any other cantrip you can't push like you can with Eldritch Blast. So as a cantrip and you're pushing people off the chasms, I'd say that's a pretty good cantrip. Not only can you beef up Eldritch Blast, but there's a bunch of other utility-based Eldritch Invocations that just help out. It helps out a lot with Warlock. Given your limited armor proficiencies, you don't have like heavy armor really, and you don't, medium armor you can't really use. So I love the fact that you can put Fiendish Vigor and Armor of Shadows in there, and that way you can cast False Life at will, and that'll give you every time, all the time, you have 7 temporary hit points, which is fantastic to me. So if you're not getting them from anything else, you can just pop False Life, and there you go. Same thing with Armor of Shadows. You can have Mage Armor once per long rest, and it lasts until the long rest. You can just, if you don't have your AC above 13, you can just, boom, instant 13 base AC. And there you go. Not only do I like the Eldritch Invocations, but I also really like that Warlocks can restore their spell slots on a short rest. And the reason why I like the short rest refresh on the spell slots is that Warlocks have amazing spells, like Hunger of Hadar, which is a fantastic spell. I love Hunger of Hadar. Shatter is a great one too. I love Shatter. They have a lot of AoE spells that are really good, and they have a bunch of other spells that are really good, and it would suck if you had to wait till long rest to use them, especially because like you only have like 2 or 3 spell slots during almost the entire game to use, and so that would be kind of rough if they refreshed on a long rest. Now the subclasses, they're alright. They can have some things a little bit better, but I do like that these subclasses provide small little buffs to help out with your Warlock experience. You know, these small little buffs that they have, they can come in clutch sometimes, like Dark One's own blessing that the Fiend gives. It's just a nice little a little bit of buff there that can get you through a rough time. Something else that I like about Warlocks is the Pact of the Blade. The Pact of the Blade is fantastic because you don't need to worry about weapon proficiencies. You know, anything you pick up, you can be proficient in. Alright, so that was my Warlock opinions. So now, number 1, the very top slot is Druid. Now, I love Druid, not only on Baldur's Gate, but I love Druid in D&D. Druid has always had a soft spot in my heart because of the Wild Shape ability. And not only the Wild Shape ability, but also the spells. They're just super versatile classes that you can really do anything you want with. The subclasses are all different styles. Circle of Spores is great, especially in later levels. It's not too good in the early levels, but once you get later levels, it gets really great with Symbiotic Entity. Circle of the Moon is amazing for wild shapes. The fact that you can transform into a bonus action and you get a bunch of more options for your wild shapes. Circle of the Land is great for spellcasting if you really want to dive into the spellcasting and you get all those different land spells. And Circle of Stars is great for your buffs, and I love Circle of Stars. I mean, it's probably my favorite one besides Circle of the Moon. Circle of the Moon and Circle of Stars are pretty around the same there. My favorite part about Druids is the wild shape. I mean, you can just turn into an owlbear. You can go in there, mess everybody up, like do amazing amounts of damage, and then once you die, you're still a druid, and so you can cast these amazing spells after you're an owlbear, and so you kind of get like it's kind of like a second wind, and so you go from being an owlbear and doing a bunch of melee damage, at least in later levels, you know, go from owlbear to a amazing spellcaster who has some amazing spells to offer. And honestly, druids have a great reservoir of spells. I mean, they have great spells like Spike Growth, Moonbeam, Sleet Storm, and a bunch of healing spells. And so you can really do anything you want with them. You can dive into the healing, you know, you can pick up all those healing spells. They even have Goodberry. I've never used Goodberry, but they have Goodberry at least. Or you can dip into the AoE damage like Spike Growth and Sleet Storm, Insect Plague, and so there's a lot of great AoE spells they got. Or like the single damage, like they have a bunch of single damage ones like Moonbeam and Ice Knife and a bunch of other really good ones, and so you really can do anything with a druid spellcasting. Like it's just so much to offer. Now, I will say Circle of Stars Starry Form is the best because you can transform into it as a bonus action, and in my opinion, the dragon one is the best because you get advantage on concentration and you get Dazzling Breath as a bonus action attack. So you can do all your other attacks and then still have the bonus action to breathe on people. With Circle of Stars, you get Guiding Bolt with your star map, and then you get Luminous Archer, which is like kind of also like a Guiding Bolt. And so I love Guiding Bolt as a spell. Guiding Bolt is a great spell, a lot of good damage output. And so that's why I like Circle of Stars as well, is because they have Guiding Bolt and they have Luminous Archer. Now, I did have some honorable mentions because all the classes are great. I love all the classes. There's a couple that I'm not too fond about, but the honorable mentions that I had that I thought about putting into this one are as follows. First honorable mention, I had Paladin. Paladins are great because they have great defense, they have great damage output. I mean, every time that I played as Minthara, I did so much damage. The fights were so easy. So I love Paladins and their damage output and their defense because she was such a tank as well. The only thing that I don't like about Paladins, and I've never liked this about Paladins, even in D&D, is they're just so limiting. Because most of them are lawful, and I hate being lawful, because it's just so limiting in your actions and what you can do. Like, for instance, there's one time where I dipped into like 1 or 2 levels of a Paladin, of the new Oath of the Crown Paladin, and it was great. I loved it. You know, I got a couple of buffs, couple of skills that I really liked. And I accidentally broke my oath. I didn't even try to, I just accidentally broke my oath. And there's nothing against Oathbreaker Paladins, you know, I actually really like Oathbreaker Paladins, but if you don't want to be Oathbreaker Paladin, it's really hard to stay in your oath and, you know, make sure that the decisions you're making, you really have to like think into your decision and like, is this gonna break my oath? And that I just don't like thinking about that whenever I play. You know, some people do, and that's okay, you know. But like, I just personally don't like thinking about if this action is going to break my oath or not. The next honorable mention I had was Monk. Monk is honestly a great one, and I love Monk in D&D, and it is a great class, I will say, great class. I love the damage output of it, especially with the extra attack, the unarmed strikes, you know, you can attack multiple times in one turn, especially with Flurry of Blows. You know, the Flurry of Blows is great because you can just get some extra hits in there. You know, and Step of the Wind is also a great one as well. The only reason why it wasn't really in my top is that, and again, might be an unpopular opinion, but personally, I only really like the Drunken Master, the Way of the Drunken Master subclass that Baldur's Gate offers. I know a lot of people like Way of the Open Hand and Way of the Four Elements and Way of the Shadow, like all of those. They are pretty good ones, and you know, they are good. But personally, and play style and all that kind of stuff, and I just don't really like those ones as much. I just like the Drunken Master one because, and I've played the Drunken Master one, and it was fun. It was pretty fun. You know, to give the alcohol in your camp supply pack a use and to actually focus on that, because there's a couple of items in Baldur's Gate where it plays on you being drunk, and so I'm like, well, I have to use these equipment because it just makes me being drunk better. Now, my last honorable mention is probably a lot of people's favorites. It's Cleric. And Cleric is a great class. There's nothing wrong with it. I love Cleric. It's such a versatile class. There's so much you can do with it. They're a great tank, they're a great healer, and they can have some really good damage output. The only problem for me though is I originally thought that I had to have a Cleric for heals. It's like the main healing class, and it's like you gotta have a Cleric for healing, because otherwise if you don't heal, if you don't have a Cleric for your healing, you're gonna be struggling, you're gonna be dying all over the place, and so you're not gonna have a good time because you're gonna be struggling. But something I realized when I didn't have a Cleric in my party is that you don't really need a Cleric. You know, the healing is only necessary when you don't have self-heals, when you don't have potions, and so it can make it a little bit like, it can make it a little easier to play a Cleric, have a Cleric in your party, and have those heals, because then you can just do Mass Healing Word and, you know, heal everybody at once. But other than that, like, I've played a couple times where I've not had a Cleric in my party, not had Shadow Heart in my party, and I've been just fine. Like, I just pop some healing potions, or I have like Lae'zel in my party who has the self-heal, the Second Wind. And there's even one time where I, multi-classed Karlach into fighter, and she got second wind. So as long as you have self-heals and potions, you don't necessarily need a cleric for healer. The cleric is mainly there for better healing and tanking it. Because if you can have your cleric tank the damage, that's fine. You can wail on the cleric, and then I'll be back here casting my spells. That's kind of like where clerics excel at, is being that tank and being able to heal themselves and heal other people. But yeah, otherwise, other than the healing, I love the class, and I love the subclasses too. I mean, my favorite subclasses are War, Death, and Light domains. I mean, War domain is great because you get some really good damage output, along with it being a tanky class. You can attack as a bonus action, you got all the war charges, so that's great. I kind of like the Death one because the Death domain, because the Death domain has it to where you could ignore the resistances of necrotic damage, which in Baldur's Gate, you encounter enemies with necrotic resistance a lot. So if you have something to overcome the resistance of that, you're set, because then you can just do necrotic damage and not even worry about it. And then I really liked Light domain because of the spells that I can do. I can cast a lot of other spells. I get Fireball, I get Flame Strike, all that stuff without even preparing it, without having to prepare it. And and Radiance of the Dawn is fantastic. I love Radiance of the Dawn because I can just walk into the center, Radiance of the Dawn, deal a bunch of radiant damage to everybody, and it's great use. Now I will say I hate the Trickery domain. So I hate when Shadowheart starts off as the Trickery domain. I have never once played all the way through with Shadowheart staying as Trickery domain. I hate the Trickery domain. I don't like the Channel Divinity. I don't like the other stuff that comes with it. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like Trickery domain, and I will continue to hate it. But enough of my ranting about Trickery domain. That was my top 3 favorite classes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about these stuff below in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it, and I would love to see what you guys think about it. Do you guys agree with me that Druid is number 1, Warlock is number 2, and Barbarian is number 3? I know there's gonna be people that are gonna disagree with me, so I want to hear your disagreements. And if you think Paladin, Monk, or Cleric should be in my top 3 instead of honorable mentions, let me know that too. I would love to hear your opinions on it and to see what you think about why Paladin, Monk, and Cleric should be top in my list. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all that jazz if you really like my videos. I would greatly appreciate it. Everything you do helps me so much, and if you like these types of videos, let me know, and I will keep doing them. Because I like these videos, I've never done these videos before, and I kind of like it, so I kind of want to keep doing it. So. But anyway, that will be it for today, so I thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next video.